Since its release, Beretta's SL2 has been the gun everybody is talking about. And there's been some bold statements calling it the hypergun of modern times. And I finally managed to get my hands on one. So we're going to head out and find out how true some of these statements really are. Pull. Pull. The nice thing about this week's video is I've had this now for a couple of weeks and I have taken it out and used it quite some and I've really got used to it. So I've got a much better idea of how it shoots, how it handles, how it feels. I've mucked about with the chokes and I've come to the decision that I quite like the 1/2 and 3/4 in it. It really does muller some target. It is a bit of a lump at 9.4, however, the balance is beautifully on the joint pin. It just, once you put it up, once it is in the shoulder, it just doesn't feel that heavy and it moves really nicely, really quickly. And it's got such a nice feel to it. I mean, you might have seen that I was a bit skeptical on Instagram about it when it first released. I didn't really like the look of it, but it has grown on me a bit. And I've noticed everybody that's seen it has actually said they really do like the lines on it. And just how they've slimmed it down, I really do like the shape of it. And it is just a dream to shoot so far. So let's go break a few more. Pull. Pull. The main thing that I found noticeable about this is the quality of the kills. It just hits so hard, and even when you swap on to the good old Sovereign Parkours, there's just no recoil. And the brakes at distance, I mean, I know I've got plenty of choking, but it hits so incredibly hard. It's obviously down to those Steel EMX barrels. Just whatever they've done to this, and I mean, in my eyes, it's a bit of dark magic, but my God, it doesn't half break targets. Left to right, going away. Pull. Okay, pull. Now, the shooting experience with this is just beautiful. I mean, I've spent a little bit more time than usual getting the stock in the right position. It obviously fits me really well. The recoil is just zero. And for such, and I've already said it, but for such a big heavy gun at £9 4 ounce, you can just move it so quick. I mean, the only thing I can liken it to is the Krieghoff that we had. You're just able to drive that target through really quickly, or if you've got big long target, that nice steady push, and it is lovely to shoot. Is it better than a DT11? I don't know. I genuinely don't know. If you put them side by side for me, that I'd be able to tell you a difference in the shooting of a gun, the feel of the gun, the quality of the brakes. Something like this, I think it's really only going to benefit that top 1% of shooters, the people that really can tell a difference right at the top of their game. For people like me, it's just a pleasure to get to shoot it. So, on to the 12th stand. Loopers. Oh. Okay, let's do the specifications first. So the one that we have is the Sporter model. It is fitted with the brand new Stelium X barrels in 32 inch. Now the best way to describe these to you, they are a tapered bore. Now they are stamped 18.4, which I'm going to do it in imperial, it equates to 7/25 of an inch. Now if you measure this gun where you would traditionally measure for proof, which is 9 inches from the start of the barrel, these measure 7/40 and they taper all the way down to just in front of the choke. Now this is the new technology that Beretta have released with these new barrels. You will have all seen the little bits of info of them out there on the internet, that these produce not only the most downrange energy out of any gun on the market, but are meant to produce the most cylindrical and dense patterns about. So the brakes, and I can vouch for it through this, are absolutely awesome. But it is also down to the brand new choking system. So these are the Optima XP chokes. As you can see, they are longer than the traditional new Optima HP chokes that are fitted in the DT range. Similar principle, longer taper down to the choke. It's meant to produce more cylindrical, more even, more denser patterns. And I can tell you what, it does bloody work. It is fitted on that new SL2 action. Now the best way to word this one to you, this is the love child of an SO and a DT. So you have got the SO style lockup. They've come away from that cross bolt system, and it is also on a DT action. So it is literally like SO top, DT on the bottom. So like with the DT10 or DT11, if you do have a malfunction, safety forward, open the gun, out drops the drop lock. Now this is brilliant because if you do have a malfunction, it's extremely easy to work on, or like many who have a DT, they will have an additional trigger unit. So if you're on your sporting layout, on your fit ass, on your ski, whatever, you have a malfunction, you have a spring brake, you whip this one out, you put your new one in, drop it straight back in, close your gun, and away you go. It is fitted on a 14 and 7/8 inch right-handed adjustable comb stock, and it has got a lovely, lovely piece of wood on it, to be fair, and it tips the scales at a whopping £9.4. Even though it's heavy, I will say they've got the balance perfectly in the right place for me. Just marginally stock heavy. So it does mean that even though it's weighty and there's some real substance there, you've got that control, but also if you need to move that gun quickly on a fast, close target, it goes. And I can promise you it does. Now, the nice thing about this week's review is the guys at GMK have been good enough to let me have this for quite a bit of time. So I will have had this for 2 weeks by the time the video goes out. And I can assure you, I have put some lead down it. So when it arrived, I went out to Cocket Farm, just shot their practice round. I shot 50 on the Sporting, came back with a 46. Went out, shot the fit ass, came back with an 18 out of 25. We then went to North Yorkshire. Now, I hadn't planned on doing this, but we went on a sim day with the guys at Roxton's up at Arden, and Tom from North Allerton Shooting Supplies was there. He knew I'd got it, and he asked if I could bring it up for him to have a look at. I put it together in the morning. Guys had a look at it, and I thought, oh, sod it. I'll just take it out on the first drive, and then I'll whip it down. I'll grab my Caesar out. I'll use that the rest of the day. I went 7 for 7 off the first clays that came off the top of the valley, and I decided to stick with it all day, and it was incredible to shoot. I mean, it is heavy. I knew about it by the end of the day, but the thing that shocked me the most was the targets that we were breaking. I mean, they have got some incredible targets there. They're probably going to say that they are the best that I've ever seen on a sim day. I won't lie, I choked it up, I put the full and 3/4 in, and we were shooting 24-gram 8s at targets that were probably like 80 or 90 yards up.
Nice.
And it was breaking them. And I genuinely was completely and utterly blown away by that. Obviously, that is down to the technology that is in those new barrels and the new choking system. I genuinely could not believe the breaks that we were getting. It just, you kind of got to see it to believe it. It's one of those things. I then went and filmed at Grimstock Castle, as you guys have just seen. We did 100 sporting with it. And following that, the next day, I went and I shot the registered sporting at Cocket Farm. That was a hell of a day. They got some cracking targets, but the wind was blowing like you would not believe. And I think on the day, there was only about 8 or 9 people actually pulled any more than 80 out the bag. It was really tough. Just the wind affected everything, blowing things all over the place. And I came back with a 72. And I wasn't unhappy with that because obviously the scores on the day were a lot lower due to the weather. But again, I took some good stuff with me. So I shot the Piston 9s, Pro 1.8s, Sovereign Parkour 6.5s. Shot it with 1/2 and 1/4 choke in it, thinking, you know, competition, just open it up, give myself a little bit room for error. The brakes with the 1/2 choke and the 6.5 on the long stuff was just unreal. Absolutely unreal. And even with those parkours being a proper fast, thumpy competition load, just the recoil through it was like nothing. I mean, it just, you've seen the videos, and there is just nothing through that gun. It is just, dead's the wrong word, but there's no recoil, nothing. The gun just doesn't move, and it gives you that ability that acquiring a second target, there is just no movement out there. Now, I do sometimes shoot top barrel first because I tend to put my tight choke in the top, and even shooting the top barrel first, I know everybody likes to shoot bottom first because of profiles for recoil. Didn't make a difference. Did not make a difference one bit at all. And it has been just a joy to shoot. Now, I'm going to say it is up there with some of the best guns that I have ever shot. Now, I've been lucky enough recently that I've shot the DT11 last year, the Longthorn trigger plate, the Krieghoff Super Sport, the Krieghoff Parkours, and I've also shot the brand new Peregrine from the guys at Longthorn. And this is up there with the absolute best of them. Genuinely is. It is a feat of engineering. The guys at Beretta just keep pulling it out of the bag every time. And it is an epically good gun. However, I have one gripe. And it's not really down to the gun. It's the price tag. Now, these go out the door at £18,000, or just over. A brand new DT11 is just over 9 grand. Is this double the gun that a DT11 is? Honestly, short of it, I don't think so, no. It is an incredible piece of engineering. I cannot fault it in any way, shape or form. Like anything Beretta you can expect, that the wood to metal fit is absolutely spot on. The mechanics of the gun are absolutely perfect. Trigger pulls, ejection, everything. Utterly perfect. I just cannot get my head around that price tag. £18,000 for a plain non-engraved gun is a lot of money. You can pick up a beautifully engraved Krieghoff, a beautifully engraved Longthorn, a beautifully engraved side-plated DT for probably less money. And it will do just as good. Now, the only people that are gun like this, in my opinion, it's the top 0.5% of shooters in the world. Those people at the absolute top of their game, the epitome of shooters, that one target is the difference between a world championship and not a world championship. That is the kind of gun. That additional downrange energy, the ability to create more kinetic energy downrange, rather than maybe putting a pellet through a target or bouncing a pellet off the top, because of that additional kinetic energy that you get with these barrels, you've got more chance of breaking a target. Obviously, it produces more cylindrical, more dense patterns through the center of the pattern. Again, you put a clay in the middle of the pattern through one of these, it's going to get broken. There's not going to be a chance that it's going to skip through your pattern and you're not going to break it. If you are on it with one of these, it's dead. But that only makes a difference to the real top boys and ladies. For people like me, it's not going to make me any better. And that is the only issue I have with this gun, is that it is a big chunk of money. If money was no issue, hell yeah, I'd absolutely and utterly have one. Have a pair, why not? But I just think it is a big chunk of money. Now, obviously, second-hand values, I mean, I don't know if there are any second-hand ones about in the market at the moment because I haven't had a look. But because they are produced in lower quantities, because they are a semi-handmade gun and there is a lot of work that goes into these, obviously they don't come through as in bigger numbers as like the DTs do. So I'd like to think that your second-hand values are going to hold fairly high on them, because, you know, first of all, getting a new one of these at the moment is really, really difficult because there are not many about. So finding a second-hand one is going to be a miracle. So I'd like to think that the prices do hold up quite well. but it's a hell of a lot of money for a gun. Hell of a lot of money for a gun. And I do think, I do understand, because I'm obviously a bit of an engineering nut. I do get there is a lot of technology, a lot of redesign, and a lot of work gone into this, and that does create obviously more cost, but it's a big chunk of money. But it is an epically good gun. I cannot fault it. And like I've said, it's one of those things that you kind of got to shoot it and see, because, you know, just breaking targets with tiny little cartridge like 24 gram 8s at 80, 90 yards, you never think that's possible with such a light cartridge, but with this, it is. And it is all down to that technology that Beretta have put into these barrels. It is just, I mean, yeah. Like I say, at the end of the day, it is a Beretta. You'd expect everything to be right, but it is one hell of a tool. It's just a destroyer of clays. So thank you for watching this week, guys. It's been awesome to get hold of this. We'll see you next week with another video.